Hey guys, tonight we step into silk sheets and unfamiliar skin. You wake with a soft gasp, the weight of fine linens tucked over your chest, the murmur of wind brushing velvet curtains. Somewhere in the distance, a bell tolls once, deep and resonant, and though you've never heard it before, it feels achingly familiar. You sit up slowly, your fingers grazing an embroidered coverlet as your mind turns blank and weightless. Not a single memory surfaces. Not your name, not where you are, not even how you got here. What you do know is that this isn't your bed. It smells like lavender and something older, dried rose petals, perhaps, and someone has been weeping here. You feel it in the room's hush, in the still air, in the way the oil lamp flickers beside the carved oak bedpost as if wary of its own flame. A sudden sound, a faint knock, hesitant. You don't answer. The door creaks open anyway. A girl steps in, no older than 15, with plaits too tight and eyes like a startled hare. She curtsies. "Milady, the Lord said you'd awakened." You blink. "Which lord?" She hesitates. "Lord Evander, milady. This is Rosemere Keep." And that's when you hear it. A voice in your mind, low and brittle as frost on glass. "You mustn't trust him. Not again." You shiver. You've heard your thoughts before, and that wasn't one of them. "Your bath is drawn," the girl says awkwardly. "Should I fetch Lady Clarissa?" The name feels sour in your mouth before it's even spoken aloud. Clarissa. As though your bones flinch at its weight. "I'll manage," you say quickly, already climbing out of bed, your legs trembling, but obeying. A full-length mirror in the corner catches your reflection. You stare. You are beautiful, devastatingly so. Pale as porcelain, with chestnut curls and eyes like storm-lit glass. But something is wrong. Not wrong with your body, no. But how you fit in it. Like sliding into a dress not meant for you. You approach the mirror slowly. Your reflection does not. It remains still for just a half second too long before it catches up. You blink rapidly and scold yourself. You're just rattled. New place, memory loss, perfectly ordinary gothic stuff. Still, you feel it. This life used to belong to someone else. Romantic fact of the realm. In the lands of Eldenbury, it is customary for noble women to wear a token of mourning, black lace at the throat for 6 full moons after the loss of a loved one, even if that person died abroad or was presumed missing. You find just such a ribbon in the drawer by your bed. You don't know who it's for, but you tie it around your neck. You tour the suite, lavish, quiet, eerie. No portraits, no personal effects. The room seems curated, as if prepared for a guest or a ghost. The wardrobe holds gowns in your size, shoes that fit precisely. Nothing has a label, yet everything smells faintly of rose oil and cedarwood. As you step into the hallway, you notice something peculiar. Every sconce burns with a steady golden flame, except the one across from your door. That one flickers violet for just a second, before vanishing. When you glance again, it burns normally. Quirky custom of the keep. It's said that any flame that flickers purple has seen a lie spoken in its light. The servants here refuse to pass them without touching the wall and whispering, "Truth finds me yet." You whisper it under your breath, just in case. The corridor leads you to a grand stair, carpeted in a rich damask pattern, roses entangled with thorns. As you descend, your hand grazes the polished banister, which is smooth except for one carved word at the newel post, Revenant. You reach the bottom. The air smells different here, older, as if the walls themselves remember stories they were never meant to hear. You step into the drawing room, and there he is, Lord Evander. He stands by the hearth, dressed in deep gray, his coat embroidered with silver threads that catch the firelight. His hair is dark, curling slightly at the nape. His posture is rigid, unreadable. But his eyes are a storm held hostage. And when they meet yours, it feels like a blade pressed gently against your throat. Not cutting, just reminding you it could. "You've changed," he says at last. Your breath catches. "Have we met?" He walks closer, expression unreadable. "Once, and perhaps never again." A small silence grows, fertile with meaning and memory you don't possess. He offers you tea without asking your preference. You sip it anywhere just to avoid his gaze. He doesn't ask why you don't remember. He doesn't ask your name. Instead, he murmurs, "You fell ill a month ago. Fever took your senses. The apothecary feared you might not return." You nod slowly, as if this is truth. It might be, but something inside you says, maybe you were never meant to survive this time. "You may walk the grounds if you wish," he says, his tone clipped, "but avoid the West Wing. Renovations. Renovations. That's always code for don't look there, darling." You thank him politely and leave the room before the fire turns your face into an open book. And still, as you walk the halls, you swear you hear the echo of someone else's footsteps in your shoes. You don't remember who you are, but someone does. And they're watching. From somewhere, very close. You choose the South Garden. Not because it's the closest, though it is, but because it smells of wet stone and time, and because the hallway leading to it has no tapestries, no portraits, just long stretches of blank wall, like someone tried to erase something, or someone. The door creaks open on a gentle breeze, and you step into soft morning light. It's misty, pale gold filtering through thin clouds, and the garden feels like something half forgotten in a fairy tale. A gravel path winds between perfectly pruned hedges and fountains shaped like swans, but your gaze catches on the roses, white mostly, hundreds of them blooming in defiance of season. One red rose, though, right in the center. The petals are darker than blood, the color of dried currant jam and secret promises. And it's broken at the stem, barely clinging to life. You bend to touch it, but don't. The voice startles you. You look up to find him watching from the stone balustrade. Lord Evander, again. Dressed now in hunter's green, with his hands clasped behind his back like some textbook nobleman from a cautionary tale. "That one doesn't like to be touched," he says flatly. You rise slowly. A flower that doesn't like to be touched. Sounds romantic. It's the last rose of a buried season. The gardeners tried to remove it once. 3 of them fell ill. You study his face. "And do you believe that?" He replies, "I believe in patterns and consequences." The tension between you isn't unpleasant. It's the kind that's designed to make your pulse skip, a strange, charged silence where every glance feels like the opening move in a dance. Still, you tilt your head. "And what consequences do you expect today, my lord?" He arches a brow. "That depends. Do you still plan to run?" You blink. "I only just woke up." "That doesn't mean you weren't planning something before." His voice softens. You used to look at me like a storm you couldn't wait to walk into. Now you watch me like I might take something from you. You lower your gaze. He's right, but you don't know why. Romantic fact of the realm. Among the gentry of Eldenberry, a man may not court a woman officially until she returns one of his gloves. It's believed to wear a lover's glove binds their scent to memory and makes the next life's reunion easier. You glance at his hands. He wears no gloves, but you sense he's offered them once. Back inside, you find your way to the conservatory. It's overgrown, vines curling through cracked glass and ferns spilling from iron planters. There's music here, faint, like a music box somewhere far off, playing a lullaby for someone who never quite grew up. A stack of letters lies on a small writing desk, all unsealed. You scan the names. None match your own, because you still don't know your name. Footsteps echo behind you, so soft you nearly miss them, but you don't turn. You've already learned, turning doesn't help when shadows want to be seen. "Milady?" a voice calls gently. It's the same girl from this morning. Her name is Eleanor, you've learned, and she speaks in whispers even when no one else is near. "There's someone here to see you." Your brows lift. "Who?" She hesitates. "Lady Clarissa." The name coils in your stomach like smoke in a closed room. You meet Clarissa in the solarium. She is stunning. Black velvet from neck to toe, her gown cinched so tightly you wonder if she breathes at all. Her hair is gold like coins that have never been spent, and her smile, well, her smile doesn't reach her eyes. It stops somewhere around polite and stretches thin like someone trying to remember how emotions work. "Sister," she says warmly. Your mouth parts. You want to say, "We're not sisters," but maybe you were. Or maybe she wants you to believe you were. Clarissa steps forward, cupping your hands in hers. Her nails are perfectly manicured, her perfume heady with jasmine and grief. "You gave us quite a fright," she says softly. "I feared we might lose you. Again." "Again?" You pull back slightly. "I'm sorry, I still don't recall." She touches your cheek. "Don't try so hard. Memory is like bruised fruit. It ripens best when left alone." A gentle joke, you decide. And yet it rots just as easily. Clarissa's smile falters. Just for a moment. Then she straightens. "We've prepared your old room, but Evander insisted you stay in the guest wing. He says it's quieter and safer." "Safer?" You nod, unsure what else to say. Clarissa moves to the window. "You remember the manor, don't you? How it used to sing in the evenings? We'd hear it hum just before supper." You shake your head. "Sing? Of course not literally, but we always said that, didn't we? Back when we believed houses had moods like people, when the walls sighed and the floorboards warned us." You glance down. The floor beneath her is spotless and silent. Clarissa pours tea from a porcelain pot shaped like a cat. "Still no memories? No feelings, at least?" You pause. Because there are feelings. Too many. Longing, panic, and that impossible weight behind your ribs like you're missing someone who was carved out of you. You nod. Slowly. Flashes. Good. That means it's working. "What is?" She stirs her tea delicately. Time and tea and all the little ways we remind you who you were. She doesn't elaborate. She never does. Quirky superstition of the manor. If you find 3 feathers on your windowsill before the sun rises, someone has tried to curse your dreams. The only way to reverse it is to burn one of your own hairs in the hearth before midnight. You suddenly want to check your windowsill. Clarissa rises to leave. Rest if you can. And if you hear a voice in the dark, don't answer. Not until it says your name first. You try to laugh, but she's already gone, and your tea has gone cold. There's a feather on the floor. Just one. For now. But you can't shake the feeling that someone, something, is trying to wake up with you, or inside you. You dream of drowning, not in water, but in velvet. You're lying in a bed, your own? Not quite. And above you, a canopy billows like lungs, breathing. Soft fingers trace your collarbone, not with love, but with possession. A voice hums at your ear saying, you were never meant to belong to anyone else. You try to speak, but your mouth is full of petals. You wake with one clinging to your lips, a real one, white, crushed slightly at the edges. It smells of rose water and something older, something metallic. You sit up, heart hammering. The room is still, except there's a chair in the corner that wasn't there yesterday. On it, a single black glove. You don't touch it, not yet. Instead, you wash, dress in pale green muslin trimmed with lace, and wander back toward the conservatory. Every step feels rehearsed, as though your body remembers this route with ease your mind cannot follow. You pass the same 3 portraits, men with sharp features and unreadable eyes, but this time, the third one's gaze seems to have shifted slightly. You stop, lean in. The plaque reads, Lord Cedric of Rosemere, vanished, 213 AF. Vanished, not dead, and you swear, just barely, that the eyes are your own. Romantic fact of the realm. Lovers once separated by death can still commune during the spring veil, 4 nights when the boundary between worlds is thinnest, but the price is a forgotten memory exchanged with each meeting. You wonder how many times you've paid that toll. You find Evander again in the library. It's massive, the kind of room that could swallow a cathedral. Floor-to-ceiling shelves, ladders on rails, armchairs so deep they might as well be traps. He doesn't look up when you enter. Have you come for answers? He asks. You pause. Would you give them if I had? He shuts the book with a sigh. Some truths are not shaped for the mouth. Some are best left for the heart to bruise over slowly. You smile, dry. Lovely. I'll stitch that on a pillow. He finally looks at you. There was a time when you were gentler. You meet his gaze steady. And there was a time I remembered who you are. He flinches, but only slightly. You were poisoned, he says abruptly. At a feast, your goblet, no witnesses. Your breath stills. He walks to the hearth. I searched for answers. I brought you here to heal. Clarissa wanted to send you to the convent at Hollowmere, said it was the safest place. Why didn't you? He looks at you then with something raw and reckless in his expression. Because you are not meant to be hidden. You were made to haunt. Your heart stumbles. Just a little. Quirky superstition of Rosemere. It is said that a spirit can only haunt a place where they left behind a desire strong enough to fracture death, passion, revenge, love. You glance at the glove you slipped into your pocket this morning. It's his, and somehow returning it feels like a confession. You wander the grounds again, this time toward the west wing, where you were told not to go, naturally. You don't cross the threshold, not yet. Instead, you find a small greenhouse behind the hedges. It's locked, but the key is hidden under a chipped stone frog nearby, so obvious it almost feels deliberate. You hesitate, then unlock the door and step inside. Inside, it smells like rot and lemon balm. The plants here are strange, luminous, waxy, some blooming in colors you've never seen. One has petals like folded parchment, and when you brush them, they whisper. Yes, whisper. Only one word. Return. You shudder. And then, tucked beneath a trailing vine, you find it. A letter. Unopened. Addressed not to you, but from you. You break the seal with trembling fingers. If I forget again, if they do it again, please don't let Clarissa near the mirrors. She knows. She always knew. And Evander, he's not what he was, not after the fire. I've hidden the rest beneath the ballroom's false floor. You'll know the spot. It creaks like guilt. You fold the letter slowly. So, you have done this before. Maybe many times. You pocket the note and back out of the greenhouse. As you do, you catch sight of something moving in the window across the lawn. Clarissa, watching. Not shocked, not surprised, just expectant, as if this is all part of the script. Back in your chamber that evening, you sit by the fire. The 3 feathers are there now, on the windowsill. Not white, black. You burn a strand of your hair in the hearth without hesitation. The flame turns violet for an instant, and you whisper the warding phrase, "Truth finds me yet." A knock at the door. You don't answer. But it opens anyway. It always does. Evander steps inside, holding a music box. "I thought this might help," he says softly. He sets it down and turns the key. A familiar tune spills out, one that curls around your ribs like silk. "I know this," you murmur. "You composed it, the night before your father died." The words hit like a stone in a pond. No surface wound, but the ripples go deep. "I had a father?" Evander nods slowly. "He was a terrible man, but he loved you, and they made you forget him." "Who's they?" He hesitates. "Clarissa, you guess." His jaw clenches. "And someone else you once trusted more than me." You blink, and into your mind flashes a face, unclear, smiling, hands rough with ink and parchment, a name beginning with an A. A lover? A traitor? Evander reaches into his coat and pulls out something small, a ring. It's old, worn nearly smooth, and etched with a hawthorn branch. He sets it on the table beside the music box. "You gave this to me once, but I won't wear it until you remember why." And then he leaves, leaving behind more questions than comfort. You sit alone with the music box until the fire burns low and the violet flame flickers again. You look in the mirror. Your reflection smiles first, and this time you smile back. But just before you turn away, it mouths something you don't hear, and you're not sure it was your voice at all.
You don't sleep that night. Not really. You lie in bed with your eyes closed, listening to the creak of wood, the tick of the clock, the whispering hush of curtains breathing with the draft. But mostly you listen for the voice, the one from the mirror. It doesn't come again. Instead, just before dawn, something shifts. A sound, small, sharp. You sit up. The glove is gone from the chair. In its place is a single playing card, face down. You flip it. The Queen of Thorns. Not a real suit, obviously, But here, in Rosemere, it means something. Romantic fact of the realm. In the kingdom of Alderwit, lovers once exchanged custom playing cards instead of letters. The Queen of Thorns was rarely sent, only when a union had been threatened by betrayal or blood. The drawing is elaborate. A woman with a crown of briar, holding a heart pierced by a sewing needle. The detail is so fine you can almost see your own face in the inked shadows of her expression. Downstairs, the manor is already alive. Clarissa is hosting a breakfast salon, apparently. You find her in the music room, lounging beneath the painted ceiling with a crystal flute of something pink and wicked smelling. 4 guests, noblemen and women in pale silks, surround her like petals, laughing too hard at stories you suspect weren't funny. Clarissa sees you and waves delicately. "Dearest, come sit. You remember Lord Giles, of course." You do not. He takes your hand like it's a serving suggestion. "My lady, the bloom returns to your cheek. You're quite restored." "Careful," Clarissa murmurs. "Flattery sharpens her tongue." They all laugh again. You do not. Instead, you scan the room. Evander's not here. Neither is Alinor, but someone else is watching you from the far corner. A man in shadow, just behind the harp. When you meet his eyes, something inside you jolts, like recognition, like warning. He raises a glass to you and vanishes behind the curtains. You follow without hesitation, but when you reach the spot, he's gone. Only the faint smell of ink and old leather remains. You lean against the wall, breathing fast. Your fingertips are cold. Clarissa appears beside you as if conjured. "You always preferred shadows to salons." "Who was that?" you ask. "Who?" "The man by the harp." She blinks, tilting her head in that slow, feline way. "There's no one there, darling." You narrow your eyes. "I saw him." She smiles, too sweet. "Perhaps you saw a memory." "Is that your answer to everything?" She leans in, her breath perfumed like wilting violets. "No, some things have no answer at all." She drifts away again, humming a tune that makes your teeth ache. Back in your room, you find something new. A book on your pillow, bound in black, pages thick as coin. No title. You open to the first page. Your name is written in tight, precise script. Lady Thalia Briarborn. You whisper it aloud. The syllables slide into place like bones setting. It feels right, but also dangerous. There's a pressed flower between the second and third pages. Another red rose. This one is perfectly preserved, and beneath it, written in the same hand, "If you see him again, don't touch him, not until the veil is sealed." Again. So you've seen him before. Whoever he is, whoever you are. Quirky superstition of the region. Names have weight. Speaking someone's full name 3 times while looking in a mirror is said to bind your fate to theirs, for better or for blood. You resist the urge. For now. You pocket the rose and tuck the book beneath your pillow. That night, you find your way to the ballroom. The floor is polished, dustless. Not a single footprint marks the vast stretch of inlaid wood. Chandeliers shimmer with candles that haven't been lit in years, but burn anyway. At the far end of the room, a stage. A piano sits waiting. You cross to it and find the false floor just in front. Your boot makes the unmistakable creak. You kneel, lift the hidden board. Inside, a bundle wrapped in velvet. You open it slowly. expecting what? A weapon? A crown? No. Letters. Dozens of them, all in your handwriting, each addressed to someone named Aurelian. You whisper the name aloud, and your breath catches, because it fits in your mouth like honey and venom. You read the first letter. My love, I remember you in fragments now. The weight of your coat, the ink on your knuckles. You told me once that stories are the only way we survive death. I wrote ours into every mirror, but they're watching me. Even the roses listen. You sit back, and the chandelier above you flickers hard. Someone is coming. You stuff the letters back into the bundle and slip them under your cloak. As you rise, a voice calls softly from the doorway. Evander. You shouldn't be here. You turn to him, heart racing. I found my name, you say. His expression doesn't change, but his hands curl into fists at his sides. And I found the letters. He closes the distance between you in 2 silent strides. They're lies, he says quietly. No, you hold your ground. They're pieces. He lowers his head. Thalia, you don't remember what he did to you, what he took. You stare at him. Then tell me. I can't. Why not? He hesitates. Because if I speak it aloud, it becomes real again. The pain in his voice is real. But so is your doubt. I need to know, you whisper. Then remember it for yourself. He brushes your hair back and touches your cheek, gently, reverently, until he says, please don't look in the north wing. That's all I ask. Which means, of course, you will. You watch him go, and when you're alone again, you whisper the name you'd been warned not to say aloud. Aurelian. The wind rises suddenly, and every mirror in the ballroom fogs with breath. The wind doesn't stop, not even when you slam the ballroom door behind you and press your back to it, breathing hard. Not even when you whisper, stop, like it might listen. The breath on the mirrors stays, and in that mist, barely, just barely, you see shapes. A hand, a mouth, a shadow curled behind your own. Then silence again. You sleep fitfully, if at all. You wake before dawn to bird songs so sharp it sounds like a warning, or a scream dressed in feathers. The window is open, though you never opened it, and on the sill, a 4th feather. This one isn't black. It's red, deep, rusted red, as if it had been soaked in wine, or something thicker. You don't touch it, but you whisper, I see you, just in case the sender is listening. You dress quickly, something simple. Slate blue, boots laced tight, a cloak over your shoulders. You pull the velvet bundle from beneath your mattress and slip it inside the folds. You leave the room without looking in the mirror. You can feel it watching you anyway. The north wing. You've avoided it. You're not even sure why. No one said it's forbidden, not really, but everyone's eyes flinch sideways when it's mentioned, and the corridor itself seems colder than the rest of the house. You walk it alone now, boots echoing against stone. The air smells like mildew and old, dry grief. Halfway down, you pass a faded tapestry, a royal hunt, hounds chasing something you can't quite make out. Until you lean closer, the beast they're hunting has wings, not bird wings, not angel wings, but wings like a moth, and its face looks disturbingly human. You keep walking. You find a door. It's locked, of course, but the ring Evander left, the one with a hawthorn, slips into the lock like it was made for this. Click. The room beyond is small, bare, but on the far wall is a painting, framed in silver leaf, covered in dust. You wipe it clean with your sleeve and stop breathing, because it's a portrait of you. You in crimson velvet with a crown of ivy and a blade at your side. But you're not alone. Standing behind you, hands at your shoulders, is a man with sharp cheekbones, storm gray eyes, and ink staining the tips of his fingers. You know his name before it forms in your mouth. Aurelian. The plaque beneath reads, Lady Thalia Briarborn and Lord Aurelian Vex, 208 AF. So you were married. Or worse, betrothed. You step back from the painting, and the wall behind it groans. You freeze. Then reach out. Your hand finds a seam, a hidden door. It swings open into darkness. You light a candle from the sconce. Inside, stairs, narrow, steep. You descend. The air smells ancient, damp, like secrets that remember being whispered. At the bottom is a chamber, no wider than your arms stretched. One chair, one mirror, one box. You open the box first. Inside, ribbons, a dried bouquet, a broken watch, a note in your own handwriting. Don't trust the dream until it breaks you. You close the box. Turn to the mirror. You expect a reflection, but there is none. Only glass. And then, slowly, smoke begins to swirl within it, forming eyes, a mouth. Aurelian. Not a memory, not a ghost. Not quite. He says, Thalia. Your knees nearly buckle. Aurelian? You press your palm to the glass. He doesn't mirror it. Instead, he looks at you like you've broken something sacred just by surviving. You told me you were dead. He nods slowly. I was, once. But this place remembers, and memory is a form of resurrection. Why did you leave me? I didn't. His voice cracks. You were taken, erased, buried beneath another version of yourself. Evander says you betrayed me. He flinches. Did you? You whisper. He looks away. Does it matter if it was for love? Your heart stutters. You set the fire, didn't you? A pause. Then, yes. It knocks the breath from your lungs. But it wasn't meant for you, he adds. It was meant for Clarissa. She had already begun the rituals, already tasted your name. Quirky superstition of the realm. Witches here do not cast spells, they consume them. Names, memories, truths. Once swallowed, they become part of her power. Clarissa is no stepmother, she's a devourer. You have to remember what happened, Aurelian pleads, before she binds you completely. She said I was recovering, you murmur. She says a lot of things. None of them are truth. The mirror begins to tremble. Cracks spider across the glass. She's coming, Aurelian says. The spell's fraying. Where can I find you? He reaches out, palm pressed to the inside of the mirror. Come to the rose vault, beneath the chapel. Bring the letters. Bring the music box. That's where the spell began. That's where it ends. And then the glass shatters. You stumble back, cut by flying shards. The candle sputters out. You flee the chamber. Back through the door, past the portrait, up the stairs, and you don't stop until you're back in your room. The fifth feather is already on the pillow. This one is white again. But there's a smear of blood across the tip. You sit on the edge of the bed, heart rattling in your ribs like a prisoner begging the bars to give. You have a name, you have a past, and now you have a choice. But the question gnaws at you. Who do you trust less? The man who burned down your world for you, or the one who rebuilt it in his image? You close your eyes and hear Aurelian's voice in your skull, soft as sleep. Some love stories don't end. They collapse, and then they rise again with teeth. You wake before the sun, not because of the light, but because of the silence. Not the kind that's peaceful, but the kind that leans too close. The kind that listens back. Outside, the grounds are blanketed in fog so thick it hides the hedges, the statues, the world. And maybe, if you're lucky, Clarissa. You gather your cloak, tuck the bundle of letters under one arm, and pocket the smallest shard of mirror glass. It glints faintly, pulsing with some memory of Aurelian's voice. Then you head for the chapel. Romantic custom of Rosemere. The dead are not buried in churchyards. They are placed in rose crypts, underground vaults lined with thorns, believed to ward off haunting. If the roses bloom, the soul has moved on. If not, well, no one likes to talk about that. The chapel sits on the eastern side of the manor, older than the house itself. Its bell tower leans left, like a man winking conspiratorially. You push open the oak doors, they groan in protest. Inside, a dozen pews, a cracked altar, and the unmistakable smell of wax and something older. Not rot, not dust. Memory. The rose vault is beneath your feet. There's no staircase, no visible door. But at the base of the altar, carved into the stone floor, is a single symbol, a moth. Its wings form a keyhole. You kneel, fingers tracing the shape. Something in your pocket hums. The shard. You press it into the moth's center, and the stone clicks. The floor slides open with the soft hiss of petals falling. You descend. The light from above disappears almost instantly. You walk by candlelight. A dozen of them flicker along the walls, already lit, though untouched. A smell hits you halfway down. Roses, wild, unpruned, sweet and angry. The vault opens into a chamber, round, with a single stone bed in the center and hundreds of dried rose vines tangled around it. Lying atop the bed is a coffin. Glass. Inside, you. Not quite. She looks like you. Same cheekbones, same mouth, but her eyes are sewn shut with red thread, and her hands are folded over a music box. It's the one from your dream. You stare at the figure beneath the glass. A mirror of you, but hollow, dormant, preserved. You reach out, place your hand against the glass, and whisper, "What did she do to you?" Then a voice behind you. "She saved you." You spin. Evander stands in the shadows, expression unreadable. He steps into the light. "She saved both of you," he says softly. You take a breath. You knew about this. I buried her. I had to. Who is she? He looks down. You. Before the fire, before the forgetting. Then who am I now? Thalia, again, but only a fragment. Clarissa, she couldn't bring you all the way back, not without consequences. Consequences like this? You gestured toward the girl in the glass. Why didn't you tell me? Because I didn't know if I'd lose you again. He moves closer. You've come so far. Don't turn back now. I have to. Why? You reach into your cloak, pull out one of the letters. Because I loved someone, and I deserved to know how that ended. He freezes when he sees the handwriting. Then, quietly, almost like a confession, he says, "He wasn't who you thought." You keep saying that, you snap, but you never say why. He hesitates. Because if you remember, you may choose him again. That stops you. Because it sounds a lot like a warning. Not for your safety, for his. You walk around him, stand beside the glass coffin, and lift the lid. The scent is overwhelming. Roses, dust, old paper, and something metallic. The music box in her hands pulses faintly. You touch it, and everything changes. A sound, sharp like snapping strings, and suddenly you're standing in another memory. A ballroom, but not the one above. This one is on fire. You're dancing with Aurelian, and all around you, flames are devouring silk and wood and mirrors that scream instead of crack. He pulls you close and says, "Remember this. Remember us." And then, you're back. Evander is holding your shoulders, shaking you gently. "Thalia, what did you see?" You step back from him. "I saw the fire." His eyes widen. "I was with him." And? You stare at him. You should be furious. You should feel betrayed. But instead, you feel sad. Because the fire wasn't rage. It was farewell. Aurelian didn't destroy you. He was saying goodbye. Quirky superstition and alderwhite. Lovers who are forced apart by magic must burn something they love to break the bond or risk becoming shadows. Some say the smoke carries your memory into the next life. You turn back to the music box. You open it. The melody is broken, just 6 notes played over and over, but your body remembers. You hum the rest. And as the final note fades, the girl in the coffin exhales. Just once. Then stillness again. But she smiled. Just barely. Evander looks shaken. "I didn't know she could..." He starts. You stop him. You didn't want to know. There's a sound, distant but clear. Footsteps. Descending the chapel stairs. You look up, and Clarissa steps into view, cloaked in black, a red feather tucked behind one ear. She smiles, but it doesn't reach her eyes. "Darling, you've gone and remembered the wrong things." You reach for the music box, the letters, anything that might feel like armor, and say softly, "No, I just remembered enough." She tilts her head, and then all the candles go out at once. darkness doesn't fall, it crushes. Like velvet soaked in water, heavy and swallowing. You can't see Clarissa, but you feel her. She's not the kind of presence that needs light to exist. Do you know what a name is worth? She purrs, her voice slithering through the black. Especially yours. You don't answer. You reach for the music box, its shape warm in your hand, like it remembers being held. A spark flares beside you. Evander, he's lit a match. It flickers weakly, throwing long shadows across the vault. Clarissa is closer than you thought. Far too close. You see her mouth, sharp, soft, curved in that patient cruelty she wears like perfume. You should have stayed in the room I gave you, she murmurs. You mean the gilded cage, you reply. She smiles. You're confusing safety with confinement again. Some memories are venom, and some are antidote. She takes a step forward, skirts rustling like dry leaves. I stitched you back together, she says. When they pulled you from the ash, you were nothing but pieces. You don't flinch. But they were my pieces, you whisper, and you rearranged them. Evander steps between you. You'll have to go through me. Oh, sweet boy. Clarissa's eyes soften with something almost maternal. You were never between us. You've always been hers. She lifts her hand. The music box begins to rattle. The lid snaps open, slamming against your palm. The melody screams out, distorted and wild. The girl in the coffin jerks. Her eyes fly open, but they're not your eyes anymore. They're Clarissa's. Twist. She didn't preserve you. She copied you. That shell was meant to become her next vessel, a puppet in your skin, a resurrection in plain sight. Stop it, you shout. But the figure inside the coffin begins to rise, mouth opening in a silent moan. You slam the lid shut. The sound echoes like a scream cut short. Clarissa snarls. Evander shouts something, but you don't hear it, because the shard in your pocket is humming again, screaming. You pull it out, and it glows red. The moment it touches the glass coffin, a pulse explodes outward, a ripple of air, a scream of metal. All the rose vines around the coffin ignite, instant, hot flame, climbing in reverse like they're trying to pull themselves away from the body inside. Clarissa stumbles backward. You grab Evander's hand and run. Back up the stairs, into the chapel, you throw the door wide and suck in the fog-choked air like it's salvation. But it's not over, because behind you, Clarissa's voice, you think this ends with fire again? She's on the threshold now, eyes glowing faintly red, and you realize that coffin wasn't her only anchor. Evander grabs your arm. The stables, he says. Come on. You run across the courtyard, fog slicing against your cheeks. Romantic fact of Rosemere is that there's an old belief that no lie can be spoken inside a stable because horses will refuse to hear it. They say it's why treaties were once signed among hay bales and saddles. You burst through the doors. The horses rear and whinny, startled. But they don't run. They stare. Not at you, at Evander. He winces. Then you see it. Just a flicker. His reflection in the tack mirror. It doesn't move in time with him. It's a second too slow. You knew? You whisper. He doesn't deny it. Clarissa's voice was too precise, her knowledge too complete. She had help.
Was it before the fire, you ask? He shakes his head. After. I thought I could bring you back, but the price kept changing. You take a step back. Did she promise me or trade me? She promised you'd live. She never promised it'd be whole. You slap him. Hard. But it's your voice that hurts more. I loved you. He closes his eyes. I know. Then turns and walks toward the door. You don't stop him. You can't, because something else is pulling your attention now. A sound. Low, soft, familiar. The music box. Still playing. Still broken. Still beautiful. You open it again, but this time there's something inside. Not a gear, not a note. A ring. Yours. Twist. Aurelian hid it inside the melody, a promise disguised as song, a piece of you he'd saved when all else was lost. The moment your fingers close around the ring, a rush of heat surges through you, and the fog lifts, not just outside, inside. Memories flash of laughter in the music room, of a promise whispered beneath rose branches, of a wedding never seen by son or witness, of Clarissa breaking the spell with a kiss that wasn't love, it was theft. You stagger. You are Thalia, and you were his, and they took that from you. A small voice, not quite your own, whispers in your ear. You cannot kill what is already dreaming, but you can wake it up. You close the music box, slip the ring on your finger, and say, "Then let her dream of fire." You stride from the stable into the clearing mist and see her waiting. Clarissa, cloak rippling in unnatural wind. "Do you come to choose?" she asks, head tilted. "No," you say calmly. "I've come to finish it." The sky above you begins to glow, red and orange and violet. A dawn like judgment. The air tastes of roses and ash. But this time, the fire is yours. You don't run this time. You walk. Each step through the mist feels like a declaration. The ring on your finger pulses, gentle at first, then faster, like a second heartbeat. You wonder if it's yours, or his, or maybe it's both. Clarissa watches with that maddening stillness, as though none of this touches her, but something in her eyes twitches, a flicker. Fear? No, not quite. Recognition. "You're remembering too fast," she says. You stop 3 paces from her, and you're unraveling too slow. A gust of wind coils between you, bringing the smell of burnt roses and candle wax. Somewhere in the vault below, the coffin burns. "Tell me," you say, "was it worth it, stealing me, stitching me together with shadows?" Clarissa's face is unreadable. "You were a tangle of endings. I gave you purpose. You gave me lies. Same thing most days." You almost laugh. Almost. Superstition of the region. If you speak your true name aloud during sunrise, you can summon every version of yourself still dreaming in other timelines. The price is always unclear, but they say it hurts less if you don't look back. You speak it anyway. Thalia Roseward. The mist around you trembles, and someone steps beside you. A girl in gold, her eyes lined with ash. Another, barefoot, holding a dagger. And another still, older, in a mourning veil, clutching a dried bouquet.
all of them you. Versions Clarissa couldn't quite erase. Clarissa snarls. That's not how this ends. No, you agree softly. This is how it begins. You lift the music box and wind it backward, not forward. The melody reverses, haunting, eerie, like memory and rewind. The air bends. Clarissa stumbles, clutching her chest. No! Stop! But you're already walking forward. Each step pushes her back, her cloak fraying at the edges, face cracking like porcelain. The ground splits open beneath her, revealing not fire, but a mirror. Twist. It was never just her controlling your reflection. It was you, fractured across timelines. She fed on yourselves to survive. And now, they're taking themselves back. The barefoot girl whispers, "Give us the light." The older Thalia hums the melody, and the girl in gold reaches for Clarissa's wrist. There is no scream, only silence. And then she's gone, vanished. No ashes, no echo, only the music box falling to the ground, still open, still playing. You kneel and pick it up. Inside, there's a second ring, identical to yours. Evander's, Aurelian's and Darius's. Maybe both. Romantic fact. In ancient courtships, it was tradition for lovers to exchange identical rings crafted from a single stone split in two. So if one was broken, the other would tremble. A bond not of love, but of fate. The ring warms in your palm, and with it comes a memory. Not a full one, a whisper. A hand in yours, a kiss in moonlight, and a vow. If I forget, find me in fire. You close your eyes and step into the moment. You're not in the courtyard anymore. You're somewhere else. The music room. Whole. Unburnt. But dim like candlelight through closed eyelids. Someone is playing. You turn. Aurelian. His hair is longer, his eyes tired, but it's him. He looks up and breathes your name. Thalia. You take a step forward, but something holds you back. Not fear, a thread. Invisible, tugging gently. You look down. Your feet are sinking into mist. This place, it's not real. It's a memory held open by the music box, a moment suspended in melody. He stands, crosses the room. You feel warmth before his fingers even touch yours, but you don't kiss him. Not yet. I remember now, you say. His smile is sad. I hoped you wouldn't. Why? Because remembering means choosing. You close your eyes and save a thing that breaks you both. I can't stay. He nods once. I know. Then he presses the second ring into your palm. I'll find you again. I always do. One last glance, one last smile, and the room dissolves. You wake in the chapel. The fire is out. The vault is sealed. Clarissa is gone, and you are alone. But the music box hums softly, and you are whole. You stand, walk back into the day, and find the fog has cleared. Evander is waiting by the stables. You approach him slowly. He doesn't speak, just holds out a bundle. Letters. Yours. unburnt. He says he kept them, even when he shouldn't. You take them, say nothing. But you offer him a ring. He shakes his head. I was never your beginning. No, you agree. But maybe you can help me get to the end. He laughs softly. Always. Quirky cultural rule. In Rosemere, forgiveness is not spoken aloud. It is offered with a gift, a flower, a feather, a ring, and the recipient decides whether or not to wear it. The silence becomes the answer. You slip the ring onto his chain, not your heart, but near enough. Together, you walk back toward the manor. Its windows are bright. The air smells of lavender and rain. And in the distance, the bells begin to ring. Maybe for a wedding, maybe for a rebirth, maybe just to mark the hour. But whatever the reason, you are no longer a girl lost in a memory. You are a woman walking out of one, and you have more chapters to write. The bells don't stop ringing, not even as the sky clears into a deep, honeyed blue and the birds return to the rooftops, fluttering like fragments of lullabies forgotten. You and Evander stand beneath the archway, watching them wheel and dance overhead. The manor behind you breathes differently now, less like a haunted relic, more like a house recently woken from a long, peculiar dream. You glance at him. Are they for us? Evander lifts a brow. We've done stranger things than inspired church bells. He's not wrong. And yet, the sound feels like a summons. You walk toward the chapel again, not to bury anything, but to dig something up. Do you think she's really gone? You ask. Clarissa? His voice carries unease. Not gone, just closed. Like a book. Like a wound. The door creaks as you push it open again. Inside, the chapel is warm. Dust catches the light like spun gold. Someone, something, has cleaned the altar, arranged the candlesticks. And on the steps, a single rose. Fresh, pink, dew still clinging to the petals. You don't touch it. Romantic lore of Rosemere. A pink rose left at dawn signifies a promise unfulfilled, an oath that still waits to be spoken. Many believe it to be a message from the dead, or from another timeline where a vow was kept. You turn to Evander. Did you? He shakes his head. Then you both hear it. A creak from the upper gallery. Faint footsteps overhead. Your spine stiffens. You're not alone. You rush up the stairs, Evander behind you. And at the top, framed by the stained glass window, is a figure. Tall, lean, backlit by morning. He doesn't turn, but you don't need to see his face. Aurelian. The ring on your hand pulses once and goes still. You step forward. He finally turns, and it's him, truly him. No illusions, no borrowed faces. Eyes like old amber, lips parted in disbelief. He breathes your name, but doesn't reach for you. Not yet. You laugh, suddenly unsure what else to do. How many times have we found each other now? Not enough, and always too late. Evander quietly slips away like fog off the lake. Aurelian watches him go. He helped you remember? In his own guilt-soaked way. Aurelian nods. Then I'll thank him. One day. You walk to the edge of the gallery, beside him. Below, the chapel glows softly.
I thought you'd lost me in the fire, he says. You did, but you came back. I wasn't whole. Clarissa saw to that. A shadow crosses his face. I knew she'd try something. I just didn't know she'd use you. You tried to stop her? He holds up his hand. Scarred. Burned. Not soon enough. You trace the lines across his palm. She wanted to copy me, but I broke the mirror. You didn't just break it. You rewrote it. There's a silence between you. Soft, fragile, real. Then he asks, what do we do now? And for once you have an answer. We live, honestly, quietly, without ghosts. Without fire? Maybe just the warm kind. He leans in and finally kisses you. Gently. No rush, as if he knows you'll stay this time. Twist. The kiss sparks a vision. Not a memory, not a warning, but a glimpse. A child running through the chapel, laughing. Your child. His. A future neither of you dared hoped for. You stagger, blinking. Aurelian steadies you. You saw it too? You nod. He lets out a slow, shaky breath. Then it's real. Not yet, but it can be. The sun crests fully now, bathing the chapel in golden warmth, and something shifts inside you. Not just healing, becoming. Cultural belief in Rosemere. After a curse breaks, the one who bore it must choose a new name, one for the life ahead, not to forget the past, but to acknowledge they have moved beyond it. You whisper, Thalia Roseward, no more. Aurelian raises a brow. Then who? You don't answer yet. You step down the stairs, barefoot, each stride echoing like a drumbeat. You pick up the pink rose. Smell it. And for once it smells like nothing but itself. No enchantment, no illusion, just a rose. You place it in the music box. It closes without a sound. Then you turn back. To them, I'll be Lady Thalia if they must title me. But to you, he waits. You take his hand. Call me whatever makes you believe I stayed. He bows his head against yours and says, Then you're mine. You don't answer with words. You answer by walking out into the morning together, through the open gate, past the stable, along the stream, toward the orchard that once bloomed only in your memories. Now it is full. Trees heavy with fruit, cicadas humming. You reach up and pluck a plum. Offer him the first bite. He laughs. Romantic? Poisonous? Maybe. He eats it anyway. Custom in Rosemere. Lovers who eat from the same tree at sunrise are said to be tied for a lifetime, not by fate, but by choice. The fruit carries no magic. The meaning lives in the moment. You lie in the grass beside him and let the day begin. For the first time, without fear, without fire, without forgetting. The orchard becomes your sanctuary. Morning spills gold over the grass, and you both lie there for longer than time permits, though time, for once, seems to have lost interest in chasing you. Bees drone somewhere above. A distant rooster makes its morning declaration,
far too late. You roll onto your side, resting your cheek on your palm, watching Aurelian with a kind of disbelief. You know, I half expected you to vanish with the mist. He chuckles, eyes still closed. I considered it, but then I remembered how soft this grass is. That's why you stayed? Not love or destiny, just the grass? Well, he says, turning to face you, it's very soft. You smack his arm with a plum leaf. He catches your hand, kisses your knuckles like something out of a court ballad. But the moment isn't grand. It's real. You sigh. I feel like I'm borrowing someone else's piece. Borrow it as long as you like, he murmurs. Maybe it'll become yours. Maybe it already has. A soft wind rises, rustling the branches. The sun tilts higher. You both sit up, brushing grass from your clothes, and begin the walk back toward the manor. On the path, you spot a white ribbon caught in the hedgerow. You know that ribbon. You wore it the day your mother died. It shouldn't be here. You reach for it slowly, heart tightening. Attached is a letter. Unfolded, its ink is smudged but legible. You read aloud. My darling girl, if this reaches you, then Clarissa failed. And if she failed, then perhaps you found your way back to yourself. I couldn't stop her. I'm sorry. But I left what I could, crumbs in the dark. You were never meant to be a pawn in someone else's game. You were meant to rule your own. Find the key beneath the black candelabra. And remember, the truth has always been yours. Your fingers tremble. Aurelian gently takes the note. Your mother? You nod. She tried to warn me. I didn't understand then. Quirky superstition of Rosemere. A message from the dead can only be trusted if it's found at sunrise. Otherwise, it's said to be bait from something pretending to love you. You check the sky. Still morning. Still safe. You both break into a light jog, half urgency, half adrenaline, racing back to the manor, bursting through the front doors like children returning from mischief. The black candelabra stands on the mantel, just as it always has. You kneel beside it, move the hearthstones, and find a small iron key. No label, but it feels right. Aurelian tucks your shoulder. There's only one locked room left. The attic. You never dared to open it before. Clarissa always said it was full of old linens, unstable floorboards, dust. Which, of course, now makes perfect sense. You climb the winding stairs. At the top, a heavy door. Your hand hesitates at the lock. Aurelian squeezes your hand. You don't have to. I do. The key slides in with a soft click. The door opens. Dust spirals in the light. Inside, silence. And then, as your eyes adjust, you see what's been waiting. Portraits. Dozens. All of you. Painted over the years, slightly different poses, hairstyle differently, clothes from different eras, but always the same face. Clarissa had been studying you, preserving you, reconstructing you. And in the center, an unfinished painting. Just the silhouette. But the outline? Him. Aurelian walks up beside it, his face unreadable. She wanted us to repeat, you whisper, over and over, until she got the ending she wanted. but it's our ending. He looks at you. So let's finish the painting. There are brushes still on the table, dried paint, oils. You mix new colors, soft amber for his eyes, a bold line for the jaw she never quite captured, and then you paint yourself beside him, not as a ghost, not as a dream, as you are now. Alive. Whole. Free. Romantic fact. In noble families, unfinished paintings were considered bad omens, meant to trap a soul between lives. But when completed by the subject themselves, they were believed to restore the rightful course of fate. You sign the bottom corner, Thalia, no longer hidden, no longer divided. Then, you and Aurelian stand back and admire it together. Your heart feels strangely light. But the lightness doesn't last, because tucked behind the canvas is a scroll, sealed with Clarissa's wax. You break it open. Inside, a map. A star drawn in red ink, and 2 words. Other mirror. You look at him. Another one? He nods, grimly. She always had contingencies. Twist. Clarissa never truly left, only transferred into another version, another shard. Somewhere, this war still rages. You take the map, fold it, and slide it into your pocket. Then we'll find her again. He doesn't argue, just takes your hand. Below, the manor awakes. Servants bustle. The scent of tea and bread filters upward. And yet, nothing is ordinary, because you are not ordinary anymore. You are a woman who walked through fire, who faced every self she ever lost, who chose love and memory and truth. And now you choose the future together. The manor is alive again, not haunted, not cursed, just awake, like an old heart remembering its purpose. You and Aurelian descend the attic stairs, hand in hand, past portraits that no longer watch with mournful eyes, but seem content, as if they've finally seen how your story turns out. The map Clarissa left is still warm in your pocket, the wax seal cracked like a warning. You don't know where it leads yet, but you know you'll follow. Breakfast first? Aurelian says. You blink at him. After that, he grins. Even avenging a timeline needs toast. So you sit together in the sunroom, surrounded by wisteria and lace-draped chairs, the kind of setting your past self would have mocked for being too idyllic. A servant brings strong tea and plum preserves on thick country bread. And in the quiet clinking of porcelain and birdsong, you say, "What if she's still watching us?" He spreads jam, shrugs. Let her. We're not afraid of mirrors anymore. You laugh. Speak for yourself. I still check for ghost eyes in every teapot. A quirk of Rosemere superstition. It's believed that the soul of a spiteful woman can linger in reflective surfaces, especially in copper. That's why you'll rarely see your reflection in old tea sets. Households scratched or etched them on purpose. You glance sideways at the silver pot. Aurelian raises an eyebrow. Do you see anything? No, you murmur. Just a woman who finally looks like herself. He nods. Then it's working. You stay there a little longer, letting peace linger like perfume. But eventually, the map calls. You spread it out over the kitchen table. The star is scrawled in Clarissa's looping hand, miles outside the manor grounds, near the ruins of something called Hollow Reach. I thought Hollow Reach was just a legend, you say. Everything's a legend until someone dies in it, he replies, not entirely joking. Romantic lore. Hollow Reach was said to be a lover's refuge turned battleground, an abandoned priory where forbidden couples once escaped to marry in secret until a fire took them all. Some say their vows echo there still. You pack quickly. Light cloaks, dried fruit, a vial of salt, never forget the salt, and the little hand mirror that once nearly cost you your mind. Aurelian brings a sword. You eye it. Do we need that? He shrugs. For show, or for things worse than show? He's not wrong. The road to Hollow Reach is a long one. You pass through forests still freckled with mist, over bridges that groan with history, past villages that seem to lean closer as you ride by. People stare. They recognize you. Some bow. One throws flower petals into the road. You blink at the unexpected gesture. Aurelian smiles, murmuring, "They remember the curse breaking. Maybe they're grateful. Or maybe they just think we're nobles playing hero." He nudges your arm. Let them. We are playing. Dangerously. Romantically. Those two things are often the same thing. As you near Hollow Reach, the land changes. The air grows cooler. The trees are twisted, gnarled. You dismount as the path narrows to stone steps. A broken arch looms ahead, once an entrance, now only bones. You step through it, and Hollow Reach yawns open before you. It's beautiful and wrong. Ruined pews, overgrown vines, scattered offerings, dolls, lace gloves, cracked rings. An altar cracked down the middle like a lightning strike split it. And in the center of the cracked stone, a mirror. Not whole. Shards arranged in a spiral, like petals or teeth. The air hums. "This is it," Aurelian says quietly. You walk forward, kneel by the shards. Each piece reflects something different. Not just you, but versions of you. Some crying, some furious, one bleeding, one smiling with someone that isn't Aurelian. A chill skates down your back. "You use this," you whisper, "to split me, to test what version would serve her best." And you passed. Or maybe I failed, gloriously. You reach for a shard. The moment your fingers touch it, the wind howls, the sky darkens, and the mirror begins to reform itself. Glass rising, fitting into place, sealing shut. You stumble back as Clarissa's voice echoes from nowhere and everywhere. "You broke the first mirror, girl, but how many do you think there are? Did you think love would save you? It only makes you easier to find. Enjoy your little orchard. I am in all reflections now." The mirror seals and shows only your face. But your eyes aren't your own. Not in that reflection. You stare at the image. It smiles. You do not. Aurelian draws his sword, but no enemy appears. Just your own warped likeness. And then the reflection speaks. Not aloud, not with words, but with intention. You feel it. Clarissa didn't die. She escaped.
and she's still looking for the right version of you to twist. But now you're looking back. You step forward, raise the mirror from your satchel, hold it up to the twisted reflection. Let the two meet. They spark. They burn. And with a sharp crack, the spiral mirror shatters again. Silence. Then birdsong. You look around. The altar is whole. The dolls, the gloves, the eerie offerings have vanished. It's just a ruin now. No magic, no malice. Just history. You exhale, one long, trembling breath. Aurelian is still beside you. You take his hand and say, "Let's go home." Because even though Clarissa may rise again, so will you.
The journey home feels different now. The sky is softer, the road less haunted. Even the horses seem to sense the shift. They move with a calm rhythm, no longer glancing nervously into the trees as they once did. You ride with the broken mirror pieces wrapped in a velvet cloth, tucked tightly inside your satchel. You're not sure why you didn't leave them behind. Maybe some part of you wants proof. Maybe some part of you knows Clarissa isn't done. You glance at Aurelian riding beside you. "You think she's really gone?" you ask. He doesn't look away from the road. "I think she's waiting, but now, so are we." Your fingers tighten around the reins. "We need a plan." He nods. "And allies. Mirrors don't shatter kingdoms. People do." You raise an eyebrow. "That's very inspiring. Did you read it off a knight's grave?" He smirks. "No, but I'm open to putting it on one." That night, back at the manor, you don't sleep. You light every candle. You stand before every mirror. You listen for whispers. But there is only silence. So you do something reckless. You write a letter, addressed not to anyone in this world, but to any version of yourself that might still be trapped. You write, "If you're still there, I see you. I remember you. I'm not perfect, but I'm free. And that means you can be too. Smash the mirror. Run. Love someone. And then write me back." You fold it, slide it behind the largest mirror in the house, and hope it finds someone. Quirky Rosemere belief. Mirrors used to be passed between lovers separated by war. If you pressed a letter behind the glass and slept beside it, the message would find its way into your beloved's dreams. So you do just that. You drift off beside the hearth, the velvet-wrapped shards in your lap, your heart a little too full to rest easy, and your dreams shift. You are in a forest. A dozen versions of you stand in a circle. Some are children, some queens, some wear armor. One is bleeding from the heart. They all look at you. The one holding the sword steps forward. "You're the one who got out," she says. You nod. The others step closer. "She's still hunting," the queen whispers. "But we know how to win," the armored one adds. "You have to remember us," the child says. "Don't become her." And then the bleeding one takes your hand. "You already did," she says softly. For a little while. You wake up gasping. Morning! Fire burned low, mirror unchanged. But the note is gone. You exhale. Hope blooms sharp in your chest. Later that day, a letter arrives, sealed in blue wax. No name.
You open it slowly. Inside, your message found me. I broke the mirror. I ran. I met a man who laughed like home. We're naming our daughter after you. Be careful. There's a second Clarissa. She's not in a mirror. She's in a person. Someone you trust. Someone close. You drop the litter. The room tilts. Aurelian finds you minutes later kneeling on the floor. You show him the note. His expression hardens. Then it's not over. You shake your head. It never was. You rise, straighten your shoulders, and begin making a list of every person you've seen since returning, every name, every touch, every glance that lasted a second too long, the kitchen maid who offered you tea before you asked, the stable boy who never looked you in the eye, the steward who asked where the broken mirror had gone when no one should have known it was ever there. You circled a name. Ansel, your steward, the one Clarissa hired after your father died. He's always been quiet, helpful, present, but forgettable. Too forgettable. Romantic custom. In Rosemere households, trusted stewards are said to hold the heartbeat of the manor. They know everything: schedules, secrets, sorrow, and they see everything. You ask Aurelian to handle it. He disappears for an hour, returns with something in his hand. A journal, bound in old leather, kept in Ansel's quarters. Inside, drawings, sketches of your face, of your hands, of you sleeping, and dozens of phrases repeated in trembling script. She must become the mirror. I will keep her here. I will keep her forever. The last page simply says, she is slipping. You sit in stunned silence. Aurelian sets the book down. He's not Ansel anymore. You look at the mirror, then the journal, then at the velvet-wrapped shards. Then it's time we stop running and start hunting. You light the hearth again and begin assembling the pieces of a trap. Aurelian smirks. I do like a woman who sets fires on purpose. You smile faintly. We finish this for good. The wind rattles the windows, but you are not afraid, because the pieces of you that were scattered, they're coming back together, and you're sharper now, sharper than any shard. The trap begins with tea. You invite Ansel to your sitting room, sunlit, fragrant, just the right amount of unthreatening. You wear pale blue, the color of surrender, and arrange yourself beside the fireplace, like a woman too tired to suspect anything at all. He enters on cue. His bow is precise. My lady. You smile sweetly. Ansel, would you join me? He hesitates only a heartbeat. Of course. You pour 2 cups, one for you, one for him. Both the same, except his is brewed with a sprig of moonthorn, a rare herb with curious properties. Not fatal, but it slows the tongue and clouds the mind if one is not quite human. He lifts his cup, sniffs, sips. You watch. No reaction. Yet. Aurelian waits behind the curtain, sword sheathed but knuckles white. You told him not to interfere unless you gave the signal. So you lean forward and say, Ansel, do you remember the day the mirror broke? He blinks once.
Of course, my lady. I was in the West Wing overseeing the linen audit. Interesting. He hadn't even paused to remember that lie. And the night the bell rang at Hollow Reach? I did not hear it. Your fingers wrap around your teacup. Funny, I never mentioned a bell. He flinches. Just a little, but enough. Tell me, you murmur, do you even remember your real name? His hand tightens on the cup. You stand, and behind you, Aurelian steps into view. Ansel rises slowly. He doesn't blink, doesn't breathe. And then, he smiles. Not his smile, her smile. Clarissa's. You're getting clever, she says in Ansel's voice. I wonder if that's dangerous for you or delightful for me. You step forward. Let him go. Clarissa Ansel tilts his head. No. The tea trembles. The mirror on the far wall flickers. And then Clarissa does something new. She laughs. But it's wet, cracking, like a sound that doesn't belong in a throat. Do you know how long I've waited to wear flesh again? To stop whispering and start walking? I'll destroy you, you whisper. Darling, you did. And look, I'm still here. Aurelian steps forward, sword drawn, but she's faster. Her hand shoots out, fingers twisting like claws, and he's flung against the wall. Not with strength, with will. She's only getting stronger, you say. No, you're just getting weaker. But she doesn't see what you're holding behind your back until the mirror shard glints in the firelight. You plunge it toward her chest, not to stab, but to reflect. The moment the mirror catches her gaze, she screams like it burns her. She stumbles back, clawing at her face, shrieking like something feral. Her skin ripples, her form flickers, Ansel's outline warping, folding inward. And, in that one sharp moment, he returns. Ansel, pale, terrified. Please, I didn't know. I let her in. I didn't know. You catch him as he collapses. He's trembling, alive, real. Aurelian groans, struggling to sit up. You help him too. The room smells of scorched lilac and metal. No sign of Clarissa, no flickering shadows, just breathing. Yours, Aurelian's, Ansel's. You don't speak for a while. Then Ansel says hoarsely, She used my grief, said she could bring my brother back, said all she needed was a mirror, you finish. He nods. I'm so sorry. You believe him because the mirror doesn't lie anymore. In the days that follow, you seal every reflective surface in the manor, each one with a word scratched into the frame, an old symbol from Hollow Reach, 2 hearts pierced by a feather, a wedding sigil, a protection rune. It's said in Rosemere that if a love is strong enough, no spirit can pass between it. So, you place one above your bed. Aurelian watches you do it. Then he asks, Do you believe it? You glance at him. I'm not sure yet. Then let's test it, he says. Marry me. You freeze. You're serious? As serious as a man who's fought ghosts, fallen in love with a witch, and just got tossed across a room by an angry steward. You laugh. It's not the right time. Not yet. But gods, it feels like it. Still, you smile and say, Ask me again when she's really gone. He steps close, touches your cheek. I already know the answer, he whispers. The manor settles into peace, slowly. People return. Servants hum again in the halls. The orchard begins to bloom, unnaturally early for spring. It's said that reborn souls bring new growth with them, that trees blossom where pain has been healed. You like that. You don't fully trust it, but you like it. A new superstition begins to circle the local villages. If you leave a cracked mirror at the gates of Rosemere Manor, your nightmares will fade. You start finding them every morning, wrapped in cloth, tied with ribbons. You keep them, because you know Clarissa isn't done, but neither are you. You look at the cracked glass, the velvet-wrapped shards still hidden in your drawer. A mirror doesn't break clean. It shatters, spreads, seeds. But maybe love does too. You just have to keep planning it, even in haunted ground. There's a fog in the valley. It doesn't belong to spring. You wake early, before the servants, before Aurelian stirs. The air smells of candle wax and something older. You step barefoot to the window, pulling back the lace curtain. The fog is still, unnatural. And in the center of it, at the edge of the orchard, stands a mirror. You know it wasn't there yesterday, and yet you feel as though it's always been there. You dress quickly, quietly. Aurelian sleeps on, his arm curled where your pillow still holds your shape. You tuck a note beneath his hand. Don't follow until the bell. You carry no weapon, only the final shard, wrapped in velvet, warm from your touch. The fog thickens as you approach. Your breath clouds in front of you, but the air is not cold, it's hollow, like something took the temperature and never gave it back. The mirror waits, tall, silver framed, no backing, just an open pane, glimmering like water held vertically in space. You step in front of it and see nothing. No reflection, only her, Clarissa, standing where your echo should be. But this time she looks different. Not wild, not cracked, almost tender. "I've been waiting," she says. You tilt your head. "For what?" She smiles faintly. "For you to realize I never wanted to hurt you, only to keep you. You killed me. I remade you. Don't pretend you were happy before." The orchard rustles, trees leaning closer as though listening. "You've haunted every version of me," you whisper. "Why?" Clarissa steps closer, yet the glass doesn't ripple. "Because you are mine. You were the best thing I ever was, the only good part, and I couldn't stand to lose you." You laugh, bitter. "You already did." She doesn't flinch. "Then come back." She extends her hand through the mirror. A vine curls around her wrist, thornless, flowering. "I can give you peace. No more pain, no more questions, just stillness." You stare at her fingers. So familiar, too familiar. And you finally say the thing you've been terrified to ask. "Are you me?" She smiles. Once. The wind stops. The birds fall silent. She continues. "You shattered when he died. You forgot who you were. I kept the pieces. I became the memory." "And Ansel?" "A shadow. I needed a body to anchor me. He volunteered. After all, we shared grief." You exhale slowly.
You're not evil. You're grief with teeth.
And you're love without memory, she replies. The final shard in your hand warms. It hums. You remember something. A field of white flowers. A girl kneeling, weeping. You in another life. Clarissa, before she was Clarissa, kneeling beside you, whispering, "We will never forget." She wasn't your enemy. She was your promise. And now she's your prison. You shake your head. No more mirrors. Clarissa's face flickers. Would you erase me? I would set us free. And you thrust the shard into the glass. Not as a weapon, as a key. The mirror groans, splinters from the center outward, light flooding the orchard as if dawn has cracked open at your feet. Clarissa screams, but not in rage, in release. You feel it tear through your chest like music. The mirror collapses inward, and from it rises a shape, smoke and light, resolving not into Clarissa, but into you. A past self, gentler, sadder, whole. She smiles at you and says only, "Thank you." Then she fades. The mirror shatters completely, scattering like snow across the orchard grass, and the fog lifts. A bell rings, the one Aurelian hung in the tower last week, just in case you need me. He appears moments later, running barefoot across the wet grass. His sword is useless, but his arms aren't. You sink into them. "You did it," he murmurs. "We did," you correct. Superstition and Rosemere. If two lovers face a mirror that shatters and both survive, their souls are bound not just for this life, but all the lives after. You like the sound of that. You look at the field around you. Where once was death, there is now dew. Where once was Clarissa, there is only a girl you used to be, and the woman you've become. Aurelian brushes hair from your face. "Will you marry me now?" he asks. You nod against his chest. "Yes, before another version of me changes her mind." He laughs and kisses you. The manor wakes, sunlight breaks, and deep beneath the orchard, the final shard melts into soil. Forgotten, forgiven, free.
The wedding takes place at twilight. You walk barefoot across the orchard lawn, the same ground where you shattered your past. Now it's strewn with flower petals, rose, lavender, foxglove, scattered by children who believe you're a fairy queen reborn. Maybe they're not wrong. Aurelian waits beneath the arbor, hands folded, hair tousled by the breeze. He's dressed in midnight blue, stitched with silver thread at the cuffs. Someone said the pattern is protective, sewn by a local widow who once saw a spirit in her tea leaves. You didn't ask for it, but you wear the same embroidery over your bodice, just in case. Your dress isn't white. It's soft gray, like mist at dawn, a mirrorless color, one that holds every hue but refuses to show a reflection. It moves like a whisper, catching light as you pass. You reach him. He doesn't speak. He just offers you his hand, and you take it. The ceremony is old,
older than vows, older than rings. It's just the two of you and a binding cord woven from orchard branches, twisted together with threads of silver and red, knotted around your joined wrists. The priestess recites the lines. Not to hold, but to know. Not to bind, but to choose again each day. Not for this life only, but for all the ones we remember, and the ones we have yet to dream. You repeat the words. Aurelian does too. And when the cord is cut, you don't feel any less tied to him. There's a superstition that if a pair is truly meant, a breeze will pass through the joined hands just after the knot is severed. It does, and you feel it, a brush of wind that smells like apple blossoms and rain. Afterward, there's feasting, laughter, too much honey wine. Ansel returns to the manor, pale but healing. He brings a gift, a necklace strung with mirror shards encased in resin. For protection, he says, a warning to any spirit who dares cross you again. You wear it that night, and every night after. Because although Clarissa is gone, shadows still gather at the edge of dreams. One night, as you lie beside Aurelian, you ask, "Do you ever wonder how many times we've done this?" He doesn't open his eyes, just smiles. "Doesn't matter." You kiss his shoulder. "No, but I like to think this time we got it right." You drift to sleep in his arms. The manor sleeps too, but the land around it has changed. Villagers now walk the orchard paths without fear. Children dare each other to touch the old bell tower. And lovers leave tokens Noel at Rosemere's center, bits of mirror wrapped in ribbon. They say if you do, you'll find your true reflection in someone else's eyes. You like that story. You helped start it. It feels right to leave it behind. One afternoon, as the first snows threaten, you return to the grove where the final mirror once stood. You bring no tools, no spell, only a basket of seeds. You plant them quietly. Flowers, trees, a single sprig of moonthorn, not to ward, but to remember. And then you whisper a final blessing. Not for safety, for softness. Because peace is not a shield, it's a garden. And now you tend it. With your love, with your memory, with your story. It's said that when someone finally breaks free of a haunting, the world sighs a little. Wind moves differently. Dreams become sweeter. Night comes gentler. You don't know if that's true, but as you stand in your orchard, Aurelian's arms around you, breath warm against your neck, you feel the hush. You feel the softness. And you feel, at last, like you belong to this life. Not as a shadow, not as a reflection, but as yourself. The moon is high now. It glows above the manor rooftops, casting silver threads through the orchard leaves. Somewhere nearby, a night bird calls once and falls silent. The world has exhaled. And you've exhaled too. No more running, no more remembering half-truths, no more mirrors waiting to pull you back into something broken. What's left is the quiet hum of a life slowly being lived, full of soft mornings, warm arms, and the small rituals of safety. You wake now to the scent of baking bread and worn book pages. You spend your afternoons weaving garlands or mending tunics for children who think you're some kind of enchantress. Maybe they're right. After all, there's a kind of magic in survival, and a greater one in choosing to stay soft after everything. The manor no longer creaks with ghosts. It sings with them. Not mournful, not menacing, just echoes of laughter, music from past lives now folded into these walls like flower-pressed pages in a book no longer read aloud. And Aurelian? He never lets go of your hand as you fall asleep. Even when you shift, even when you dream. Especially when you dream. And tonight, as your breath slows and your mind slips gently toward the dark, you think of Clarissa, not with fear, but with grace. A girl who held grief until it became a blade. A girl who loved too hard to let go. A girl who, in the end, just wanted you to remember. You do. You remember everything. But you choose peace. You choose love. You choose the soft ending, not woven with spells or vengeance, but with stillness, with mercy. So rest now. Your story is safe. You've made it home.